Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. And you know what? We decided to do this one live for you all because Michael's finally back from Costa Rica, and it was about damn time that we talked about something and did it live. So we figured a live episode would be fun for y'all. So here we are talking live about all the fun things that are happening, but not just the fun stuff, also some of the controversial things that we wanted to talk about because, you know, what is a fun episode without a little bit of controversy? So we're going to talk about the weird Fantastic Four rumors, some of the casting rumors, the new people that they're saying is in the mix and not, and some really controversial race changes, gender swappings, all the stuff that, you know, just makes the MCU what it is. And we're going to talk about that, as well as a handful of awesome details that Matthew Vaughn revealed recently. I know last week we talked about his whole thing with X-Men 3, and Michael wasn't here for that, so I get to fill that in with him. And then he also let a ton of stuff about like the Authority rumors, Kingsman, DCU, Kick-Ass reboot, all that stuff. So here we are talking about all the fun things.
I didn't know I missed Matthew Vaughn talk. Well, now I'm here. I'm a Vaughn shopper. I love that guy.
Also, you missed the fact that Disney announced they're making a live-action Gargoyles.
You can't just slap that on me out of nowhere. What do you mean?
James Wan and his partner that's been working with him on all of his horror movies, like Annabelle and Conjuring and all that stuff, got tapped by Disney Plus to make a live-action Gargoyles TV series.
They're scary dudes. They make scary things. How are you supposed to do this?
I don't know, and I don't care. I just want it.
Okay, well, listen, I apologize to everybody because they probably talked about this last week, but we're going to talk about it now.
Yes,
okay. The models for the characters is good. They're going to update them, maybe with scales, maybe with like something that turns to stone more easily. Also, do you do them practical or do you do them all in CG?
Yes. No, honestly, I think that the only way to do it would be to do what they do with Swamp Thing, where you have as much practicality as you can and use CGI for cleanup. And that is what James Wan is known for doing. So, yes. That's what you'd want. But yes, everyone who was here last week did have this conversation already. But you know what? We have a lot to talk about still because it's such an amazing bit of news. Like, I mean, Gargoyles, live action. What else can you say?
It's so funny because Disney makes all this shit. They keep making live actions of stuff. Like, nobody asked for a different Little Mermaid. But a live-action Gargoyles makes a ton of sense.
So, one thing that I did want to say, because yes, New Little Mermaid was a very controversial film, and not even just because of the race changing and all that stuff. It was, to me, I sat down and watched it with my wife, and we were like, all right, we can get behind whatever changes they got to make. Let's see it. The movie still sucked.
It still sucked. Taylor, when King Triton's head was floating around, when his head didn't look like it was attached to his body, I was like, oh. They couldn't even match the tempo of the original movie. It's just a boring movie.
That was my issue with it, was that they kept changing these things, and I was like, okay, this is unnecessary change, but you know what? Whatever. I'll stick with it. I'll see what's happening. And then they kind of made these changes that they changed it for the sake of changing it. And I just couldn't get behind some of it. I was like, I don't understand why this is in here. And it made the movie slower.
It made the movie so slow. I couldn't believe also the changes they made to the songs and stuff like that.
I heard about the controversial change to making the consent version of the Kiss the Girl song, which I thought was, all right, that's dumb, but whatever. I just moved on. But my biggest gripe was the changing of the ending. Like when Ariel gets that happy affirmation from her dad about now she has legs and now she's going to be a human. They had this like tender moment in the original where he's like, I accept you, go be human. And in this one, she was on the beach, he did his thing, and then the next thing is just it cuts to her walking by herself. And I'm like, where the hell was the beautiful father-daughter moment? Like Disney, that was the point. Like,
well, I don't know what's going on at Disney because I don't know who they're making these movies for. And I keep seeing these things about how much money they've lost. And I can look at that piece of paper. Disney used to be like, they would only do a handful of movies, but they were really good. Now it feels like it's all just so subpar.
And that was my big issue, was that it felt like they were going, like, what did Bob Iger say? I mean, despite the fact that everyone hates Bob Iger right now, and he's like the devil on the street right now, he did say something that I really liked, where he said that the studio needs to go back to focusing on quality, not quantity, because that's what they've had. There's so much like machine pumping, let's make $1 billion on everything, and they all stopped being good. It became very formulaic. It became such a problem.
Well, and it makes me sad, the projects that do get greenlit, because I just wonder, like, there's other stories out there that would probably work better. Like, I can't believe there hasn't been a Robin Hood that the animated cartoon Robin Hood remake yet. Like when they did, when they did Pete's Dragon, I was like, they're gonna reboot all the weird stuff.
Okay, but mind you, I remember when Pete's Dragon came out, and you, me, and our Disney friend, we all saw it separately, and I actually kind of liked it. It was weird. It was nothing like the original, but I liked it for what it was. It was like, this should have just been an original film and not called Pete's Dragon, because it's still a good film, but has nothing to do with the whimsical Pete's Dragon of the 50s.
It's funny that Disney is so afraid of new IP, but like, you know, there was this unknown movie called Frozen that turned into a whole $1 billion industry. I feel like there is room for those stories once again, and not just remaking the things that Walt Disney made in the 40s.
And I'm sure that I'm sure that fans want that too. I know that in this day and age where you have it's dangerous and scary to attach yourself to an unknown project with such a huge budget, and that's why they steer away from it. But people are craving for these new things. They're tired of the same stuff, and now there's just riddled with controversy. I know that there's just a ton of controversy around the new Snow White live action film, and it's
Taylor, I don't. Dumb. Is Snow White being made? I don't. Its production has been all over the place. Is it a movie that they've already filmed?
I've heard from some people that the movie was canceled, and I've heard from other people that the movie's done and they're just keeping it on the download so they can fix it in post. I have no idea anymore, because when you have the lead actress who just shit talks the entire project, saying how outdated it is and that they're reinventing it, why did you even make it? Like,
well, and yeah, and I agree with you, because it's like these stories resonate with people for a reason. And there's nothing lasted wrong,
hundreds of years for a reason.
Right. There's nothing wrong with princess stories. And I don't understand why are you remaking them if you don't like them? Like, just do the story you want to.
Yeah, we got that movie. It was with Kirsten Stewart and Chris Hemsworth. That was the movie that she wanted to make, apparently. But whatever, man. I don't know. People are dumb.
Well, what? I mean, I'm surprised this movie hasn't been burned in a fire and they redo it, because isn't that what they're doing with Daredevil? They watched the first 8 episodes and said, this is all garbage.
This is not the Daredevil we wanted. What do you mean he doesn't even put his costume on for the first 5 episodes? Okay, cancel, fire everyone who's writing it, start over.
Taylor, is this because they're giving it to writers that don't know the comic books?
I don't even know. The big thing that they released in the big press release about the reboot was that essentially Disney Plus didn't have Kevin Feige to oversee the project, so they weren't as cohesive with the MCU until it was like shoehorned in the last second. Like, they kind of cited that WandaVision, every time that WandaVision was during production and filming and all the changes that show went through, they had to rewrite the script for Doctor Strange multiple times, to the point where Scott Derrickson said, I'm done. Because They kept changing it every time the writers came out with another episode, so that
Holland,
nobody was on the same page.
Tom Holland said the same thing during that Spider-Man movie. They would change the script every single day on them.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me, Taylor.
I'm not trying to fix my camera is being.
How can you be filming a movie and not have the movie locked down?
I don't know. You can ask Warner Brothers and how Green Lantern went for Ryan Reynolds, because apparently they didn't even have a script when they started shooting. They just had an outline, and that's why the movie was a dumpster fire.
Wow. So it's just him improvising? It was just Ryan Reynolds trying his best.
Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds.
To make a movie happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading some of the comments right now because people are even saying, and Gal Gadot even said that Snow White won't even be saved by the prince. So what is the point? Like,
and also, if you want to do that movie, why not just call it Snow Black? And it's like, what's Snow Black? And it's like, this is a different take. And not even like tie it into the original one at all. Because whatever.
Like I said, they did that with Snow White and the Huntsman, and Snow White was the warrior, and there was no prince. I mean, was there? I don't remember.
There was a prince, wasn't there? I don't know what he was doing.
I just remember that Kirsten Dunst put armor on at some point in that film, and she fought with people, and that's what they want to make, but not.
I saw a crying Emily Blunt that she was one of the villains in those movies.
That was the second one after the director of the first one got photos taken of him banging Kirsten Stewart, and then they both got fired.
Oh no!
No, that was the real thing. That's why she broke up with Robert Pattinson, and now Robert Pattinson's Batman. So I think he got the better win out of all that.
That's not. Don't judge their relationship. You don't know anything about what was going on there.
She literally cheated on Robert Pattinson with this guy. It got all over the internet. They broke up. That was actually something that happened.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was awful.
That's a real thing. People. Yeah. And it was on Cinemax in Costa Rica, so it was in Spanish. So I had it on mute. It looked fine, but I don't know what was going on. She was crying on the ground.
I'm just reading some of the comments. She is too brave for that, apparently, and the leader is going to be a socialist. I don't even know. I'm done. Snow White can just burn. Like, I'm done.
Ugh.
Sorry, Disney.
Was it supposed to go to theaters? Can it even go to theater? Okay, so it's not going to theaters.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows if it's even still happening? With the actor strike, I think the studio has reviewed everything that's been filmed, and they're probably like, this is bad. Let's redo it all. Let's fire everyone during the strike. Like all the stuff they can't do. They're waiting for the strike to be over so they can properly fire everyone.
You think that's what you think? You think that's what it is?
I 100% think they're gonna retool that film from the ground up. When the Seven Dwarfs, one of the only projects in Hollywood that gives dwarfs a career, gets rebooted to these 7 non-binary magical creatures, I think the audience doesn't care anymore.
Is that what they call them in the movie?
I don't know what they call them in the movie, but if you saw the 7 people, there was like a black dude, a chick, a weird hippie.
There was a lady? There was a lady dwarf?
Yeah. But they weren't dwarfs. They're all like 5 and 6 feet tall. Like it was straight up like adults.
I thought that was the point of Snow White coming. She was the like new thing. She teaches them a new way. They have a lazy chick already there?
I saw the photo and I thought it was a gag. And then apparently none of them are named by those things because they're all derogatory names.
You gotta have Dopey. He's the best.
You know?
I mean, I get that. I mean, I get it. Like, I get it. People's feelings get hurt and stuff like that. It's humor from the 30s. I mean, that movie is old
but at the same time, like when that movie came out, people were a lot tougher than they are now. So I feel like
sure, maybe.
Today's society, everyone lives in a glass house and we all get offended by everything. And realistically, being offended is a choice and no one knows it's a choice. And
the witch wanted the huntsman to bring back her heart so she could eat it.
Yeah, so she could make it into like a voodoo potion and consume her youth. Like it's like
that dude was gonna go to the woods and murder that little kid. Like that like until he didn't do it, that's what his agenda was on the day.
I'm gonna find myself this black-haired albino chick that's 12 or 13. I'm gonna murder her, cut her heart out, and bring it to this evil queen who has a wrinkle. And that's why she's upset.
He doesn't do it, okay? He goes, oh, I can't do this. I'll just murder a deer instead and bring that heart to her. That's fine, but I mean, that's a tough day.
It's a tough day. But even then, like the Snow White and the Huntsman, that movie, like I kind of liked it because you could tell that the director was a huge fan of Princess Mononoke, and everything in that movie was based on that Forest of Spirits.
I had no idea of this connection, because if that's the case and it's going to bring up those feelings, maybe I have to see it.
Go watch the movie. As soon as she goes in the magical forest and you see some of the things in there, you're going to be like, oh my God, this guy did it. Because like there's the great tree spirit, but a deer. There it is.
I'm super excited that in about a blink of an eye, we're going to be able to see the new Miyazaki movie.
Oh my goodness. Did you see the casting announcement for it?
I can't believe
everyone's fantastic.
I can't believe Christian Bale's doing another one. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, Christian Bale is one of those actors who's like, I'm not going to do this because this sucks. And then all of a sudden they got him on not one Ghibli film, but two now. Like, okay.
Well, he said he wanted, when he saw Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away, he's like, I'll do anything for your next movie. And that's how and they cast him as Hal. So I'm glad to see him back again.
And now he's back. And they've got, honestly, such a good cast. And I'm just like, I'm normally very critical on dubs. Like dubs are very hard to like win me over on certain things. And even it has to be contextually make sense. Like if the movie takes place in Japan, I want to watch it in Japanese. Like you lose. It's like that TV show on Netflix, Dark. Yes, the dub was easier to follow, but the show takes place in a German town. So about halfway through, you're going to realize that these people don't speak English, and contextually, you need it in German. And that's how I am with a lot of those things. So if the dub casting is fantastic, so I'm going to give it a go.
What is the Japanese dub of the One Piece show?
Isn't it just the cast of the One Piece anime did the voices of the Netflix show? Like, isn't that something that they did? Like, they actually got the same cast?
If that's the case, then I feel like maybe that's a dub I have to watch. Or a subtitled, a dub I have to watch, just dubbed in another language.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's white people speaking in Japanese, but, it's fine. It's the actors from the Japanese show. It'd be like if they made a live-action Dragon Ball Z show, and then they got all the casting from Dragon Ball Z to do those voices. I would have to watch it.
Taylor, I have an anime movie to talk about with you. I was on an airplane, which means Sony had some new stuff on there. I had no idea that they did a live-action Knights of the Zodiac movie.
Yeah, no, I've been talking about it for a while. You don't pay attention to me.
It's crazy. It's bad, but it could have got there. It's almost there. And the fact that they got that guy to play Ronoro Zoro in One Piece, I was like, oh, he's the best anime guy. That guy could be the lead in 2 more anime movies. No problem.
Yeah. I think I got like an email about it saying that like I could buy it for like $5 or something. And I'm like, I'll buy the bullet for $5. I might do that.
It's the most back-ass way to get to that story. Like, he's training on a mountain with this redhead woman. And I was like, I bet this is all better in the anime. But we didn't get that. We have a Sean Bean. He's in an illegal fighting ring, and his sister is gone, and now he's got to go learn so he can become the Pegasus Knight. It was bonkers. It's batshit bonkers.
All right. I'll have to watch it because that sounds right and weird enough for me to watch.
And it's got that good. Sony's CG is pretty good. Like, there's a lot of things about the movie I liked, but it just never got me. It just never got going.
Wasn't quite there.
No, it wasn't there.
All right. So to kind of get onto the subject at hand, because I know that there's some stuff that I bought that Michael wants me to talk about, like this giant.
That's not the topic at hand. The topic at hand is Fantastic Four.
This Batman box right here.
What's in the Batman box?
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So Fantastic Four. There's been a handful of rumors for the longest time on what's happening with this project. It's already gone through multiple directors, multiple script writers. The most recent stuff, you had Matt Smith and Adam Driver in the contention for Mr. Fantastic. One source is saying that Vanessa Kirby is all but locked for Sue Storm. And then another source is saying Isa Gonzalez is all but locked. And that not only is Sue Storm going to be Hispanic, but so is her brother Johnny Storm. But along with all of that, this most recent rumor is that Antonio Banderas is Galactus. So Galactus is going to be Hispanic as well.
But Nasal XB is going to be the bad guy?
Yeah. And not only that, is that
I will destroy your world.
Silver Surfer is going to be a major player in the film, and Silver Surfer is now a woman.
It's crazy that Taylor, that we've lived through a Fantastic Four movies and they're literally doing the same bullshit again. They're literally just doing what they already did.
Like, literally, when I heard all these rumors, I'm like, so you're making Rise of the Silver Surfer, but you're just gender swapping and race changing a few characters so it's not the same film?
You could do the Fantastic Four, have such a huge array of villains. And at this point, shouldn't they just be facing Kang? Like, literally, shouldn't every movie be them fighting Kang at this point?
Okay, so for people who don't know the comics, and there's a lot of them, because the MCU is a fun thing that has created a generation of people who don't know source material. Kang in the comics,
right?
Kang in the comics is a descendant of Reed Richards. Like, Kang is a Richards. He's descendant from them. However, on Loki, on the newest episode, they're trying to make Victor Timely Kang Prime. That's what they're doing. They're going back in time to make this, like, what is the in physics, I think they call it the bootstrap paradox, where it's like in Terminator, where someone from the future has created a paradoxical loop by changing the past to create the character that they need in the future. And that's this cyclical thing. Like, John Connor wouldn't have been born if John Connor didn't send his buddy to go save his mom. And that's the bootstrap paradox. And that's what they've essentially done for Loki, is that the TVA has jumped back in the past to create Kang on the instruction of Kang.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But they also made it so that Kang is not a Richards. He is this random 1850s inventor.
Why not tie them in to the Fantastic Four? I mean, I understand why. You know, it's funny, as we're talking about Kang, how do you even do the Fantastic Four without Doctor Doom? And then it's like, why not have one of our other...
How do you do Secret Wars without Doctor Doom? Because Kang is a character in Secret Wars, but Secret Wars was kind of Doctor Doom's story to begin with. So, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what they're doing.
At this point, you would have need to have another... You almost need another hero. You need Shang-Chi to go fight Doctor Doom so you can just introduce Doctor Doom to the universe.
I don't know. I feel like when they started this latest phase, by the time they realized they had to start world building for the end of the phase, that they've done so many weird things that now people are like, I don't see the direction. What are you guys doing?
Especially in movies like where are the Eternals? Remember when they were supposed to be the team?
Okay, so I talked about this last week. So the Eternals, I sat down and watched it. That movie screams that it needs like a 10-hour cut, and it needed to be a miniseries because it was too much for a single film. It had a lot of cool ideas, beautifully shot, great special effects, but it was too much going on for that short of a film. It needed to be a series, and it needed to have something else.
Which is so funny because that's the opposite of so many of these other things, where like that Captain America show should have just been it should have been a 2-hour movie,
or just a 4-part miniseries, not 8 episodes, but 4. Cut out the fat, make it a miniseries, and you can tell the whole story very quickly. But that's not what we got.
And what's sad is that all of these bad projects, these things that just aren't there, the things you're not recommending to your friends, it's like, I don't know, it just gets lost in the sauce. Weren't we supposed to get an Echo? Weren't we supposed to have these things by now?
Well, Echo got delayed because of the strikes, but apparently it's still coming. But they're dropping it all at once, which is not a good sign. But also, I'm happy about that because everything I've heard about the show makes me want to watch the show. But I feel like they realized very quickly that yes, we did a whole show on an unknown character, and it's going to set up Daredevil, and it's going to set up more Kingpin, and it's going to be all this stuff. But but people need to really, they're worried that people aren't going to watch it, so they're dropping it all at once so that people will watch it and then realize that okay, yeah, Daredevil's in it, Kingpin's in it, backstory, setup. It's basically, if Daredevil season 3 was canon, which it's not because Kevin Feige confirmed that's not canon. If it was canon, this would have been 3.5 leading into season 4. Like it's a setup season.
When you tell me they're remaking The Silver Surfer, they're just going to remake that Netflix show, Taylor. They're going to say, this is what we want, and we're going to get a bunch of episodes that are just like, almost like that. They just look like the MCU.
Oh, I just got bummed out. So in the main news feed that's popped up right now, Richard Roundtree, the original Shaft, passed away today. That's a bummer. Thanks, John, for making me sad by sending me that in the middle of a show.
I mean, you needed to know it's an end of all of the, those black exploitation movies. We're going to start losing all of those people soon. And like another time in movies. I mean, do we go back to that? Lots of movies come out and their budgets are wildly different and the good stuff rises and the rest of it fails.
It's going to have to. It honestly is going to have to, because so much stuff is happening that I think they're gonna realize that the only way to truly make it work would be to do it like that. Like, you have to see what does and doesn't respond well and go from there. But you can't have, and I talked about this last week, you can't have projects like She-Hulk, which is got this inflated CGI budget, but you broadcast the show as if it was going to be a procedural crime show with the court drama, legal drama, which I would have watched in a heartbeat because I like those kind of shows. And then you make just a CGI. I said this on the last show. The amount of money that they spent making the She-Hulk twerking scene, they could have hired a writer to make it a procedural crime show. Like,
yeah, and just do the MCU version of a Law and Order show and make it really gritty
and
and make it really hard.
Loved it, and I would have promoted. I would have been like, everyone go watch the show because it suits with She-Hulk. Give me that show. But what we got was not that.
I know that the shows are fringe because I'll recommend, like a show like Sandman. I recommended it to everybody, even if it's not your genre.
Good.
Get into it. And it's like, I can't remember the last one of these shows that I told somebody else to watch. There's so much you need to know to even enjoy it.
I've been recommending shows based on their necessity for the next movie. Like, my dad was like, I want to watch the new Doctor Strange movie. And I'm like, then go watch WandaVision. He's like, do I have to? I'm like, you have to. So that's what he did. So that was like, I'm only recommending if the movie is required. If my dad wants to see the Marvels, which I know he doesn't, but if he said, I need to see the Marvels, I'll say, okay, go watch Miss Marvel because it's necessary.
Is that out?
It comes out in a couple weeks, but apparently it is tracking as the lowest MCU movie ever. I mean, not only is it the shortest MCU movie ever, but no one's really excited to see it.
No, they're not. And it's probably because of the characters that are involved. I feel like you got to have Miss Marvel fight someone big. And I'm talking about the Brie Larson one. I just feel like they just don't know which character to pin that universe onto.
I don't know, man.
She's demoted in her own movie.
And I like how the director tanked her own movie, to be fair. Yeah, 100%. The director, and the recent comments she's made about this film, about what this film contains and what this film is, yes, they 100%. She even said it was going to be more of a funny, lighthearted, zany, wacky comedy. And then people were like, I'm out. Like, as soon as you described it as zany, I'm done. I don't want that. Like,
well, what's sad is that the Marvel universe hasn't got people to that place, because even the Thor movie I would not call zany.
No, the Thor movie, even the funny Thor movies, I cannot stand because that's not the character.
Like, right, but they're not zany. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Did you watch the last one? Did you watch Love and Thunder? Because that movie was a dumpster fire of zany ridiculousness.
I mean, I did like Ragnarok a lot, right? That's the one. I liked it a lot.
I like some things of it.
I have not. The problem with these movies is I never want to rewatch them.
My problem with Thor: Love and Thunder was that it started on a fantastically dark note with the whole setup for Christian Bale's character. And then you don't see anything of the character for a long while. And then when you see him again, you have this really cool black and white thing. And then that's kind of the movie. Like, the movie is it felt like they gave him notes on, here's 5 bullet points you have to hit. And then do whatever you want. And he hit those bullet points exactly how they said to. And then he filled it with ridiculous stuff in the middle of it.
I remember the bullet points of that movie so much more than any of the other stuff. Does little girl Thor become a character soon?
I don't even know. I mean, is she even in the comics? That's my other question.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
Like,
know. I assume none of these people are in the comics.
I mean,
Which comic
I
book
mean,
people
I
are
mean,
making these movies?
legitimately, the only comic book fan that was at Marvel was James Gunn, and now he's running DC. So it's like, I was like, even with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, all the characters that he put into that film that became the team at the end of the film are actually characters from the comics and
Right.
actually members of the Guardians. So like James Gunn, yes, he reinvented the Guardians from the ground up, but at least he stayed somewhat true to the source material on every character that he did redefine.
Yeah, when he went full circle back, right? He was like, "Here you go."
Yeah. So I don't know. Marvel, you got to win me back over, because apparently Spider-Man 4 is starting production the moment the strike is over. But that's Sony, and they got to a great spot at the end of Spider-Man 3. So if they can,
but they reset the universe at the end of 3, and basically, I mean, do we just see a classic Spider-Man struggle to pay it? Do we just see the classic movie, or do we get a twist on it?
I hope that we just get Peter Parker, poor as shit, has nothing going on for his life. Everyone that he loved doesn't remember him. His family's all dead. He's living in that little podunk apartment that apparently is in Rockefeller Square. So even though it's a crappy little apartment, it's in the most coveted place of the city. So that's cool for him. But I want to see them revisit like Scorpion and the other characters that they set up, and have just like Kingpin saying, I need to get this spider guy out of my issue. Get Scorpion in there. I want them
or the Spider Slayer
Spider-Man street level.
You want to see the Spider Slayer, the big robots go after Spider-Man?
No, I want to see Kingpin. I want to see a street level Spider-Man for a change. No bad guy with Stark tech. I want to see Kingpin doing Kingpin stuff and using his own. I want to see like some like behind the scenes, like Wilson Fisk bought Justin Hammer's R&D department and is now souping up a bunch of villains.
And we just see a ton of them. We see
yeah.
Okay, so Shocker's in that movie, right?
He was already in the first one, but bring him back.
Wait, where did this come from? I did this and then a little bubble popped up. How did that happen?
I don't know. What did you do?
I don't know. I did a thing and a bubble popped up on my screen. I'm trying to make bubbles, everybody. All right.
Or did someone do it at the same time that we did it?
I think me and someone in the chat are like, is simpatico. We're seeing eye to eye.
Right.
Okay.
So, Michael, you haven't done this yet, but I want to say this real fast. Y'all play Spider-Man 2 yet? Michael hasn't. I have lost myself in this game. I have done nothing in the story, and I'm already flying around in costumes that some of my other writers are like, how did you get that? I'm like, I'm level like 15. And they're like, have you done any of the story? I did the first level. Like, I'm just doing everything else but the story. I want the guys at Insomniac to take over the Spider-Man film division. Like, they did it right. I mean, they have the best way to treat Peter Parker is, yes, kill off everyone he loves, which is what they did. And then allow Peter to be smart and have his own tech. And that tech is made by him. And he doesn't have a guy in the chair. That's Miles's job, but Spider-Man is still struggling with his own life. Like, the characterizations they made in that game, even with all the random changes to the canons and everything, they're still within character, and it's fantastic.
I was watching Into the Spider-Verse on the airplane home from Costa Rica, and there's so much great Spider-Man stuff in that. And the punk rock Spider-Man keeps telling him, make your own shit.
Speaking of that film, I want the next Spider-Man film to have Kingpin as the villain.
It's going to have the Sinister Six. At the end of the movie, they're talking about the Sinister Six. They're talking about them on the TV screen.
So, no, the next Spider-Man Tom Holland movie. I want Spider-Man 4, whatever it to be. I want Kingpin to be the villain, and I want him to hire Donald Glover's Prowler, because we already got him in canon. I want that film. I want him to introduce Miles. I want them to do that and have Loner Peter have his sidekick in the form of Miles Morales.
And they into the MCU, we have the two Spider-Mans in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say that you're crazy, but they've added a
But
second
are we?
hero to every single one of these movies. Why would you not do it with Spider-Man?
Especially if you do it right. Like, don't make, I mean, this version of Peter is 19 now, 19, 20 in that range. I mean, he's never going to look like he's not 14 because that's Tom Holland. But actually hire a kid to play Miles, like someone who's legitimately like 14, so that there is a physical difference in how these characters look. And yes, get me the black suit, get me Miles Morales. I want that film. I want this young, angry Puerto Rican kid who is going to Spider-Man for advice, and Spider-Man is like, look, I screwed up on everything, but this is the lesson I learned the hard way. And I want him to have to force to be a mentor.
I think we're going to get another movie of him screwing up. I think we
maybe.
have to. I think we maybe have to see.
But
I mean, he's in a bad spot.
Isn't that how Spider-Man is? Like, he's going to tell everyone the best advice and then still screw up in the process in his own life, because that's Spider-Man. I'll tell you the way to fix your life, but I can't do it myself because I'm Spider-Man and I have a character defect.
We're not going to see Kraven the Hunter, right?
I would love it if they did, but I think it's too soon.
Because
unless they have Kingpin hire Kraven to hunt down the Spider-Man, and that makes sense. But then again, Michael plays Spider-Man too, because Kraven the Hunter coming to New York to hunt down Spider-Man's villains is a great setup for a film.
Is there any... See, again, I feel like you got to tie Spider-Man into MCU stuff, which they did which they did so well with Doctor Strange in the last movie.
But at the same time, I don't want them to. I want them. I mean, the entire Marvel phase, anyways, is everyone's doing their own thing. Just let Spider-Man do his own thing. Like, stop tying everything he does into Tony Stark or Doctor Strange or some other random character in the MCU that doesn't have anything to do with Spider-Man. If you want to tie him into anybody, put Daredevil in the movie. Like, that's what I want.
I mean,
or better yet, have Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool show up and say, Peter, I am you from the future, and give me that whole comic storyline. Where Deadpool tries to convince Peter that that's who he is, and it freaks him out.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think a Daredevil Spider-Man, I think you would really up Daredevil to the level that he needs to be in the MCU. He needs to be on par, and we just haven't seen that yet. Yeah. I don't know where Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool could go any which way. And the question is,
okay, so this is what I've heard.
Who does he have the best chemistry with?
Spoiler alert. What I've heard so far for what Deadpool 2 is actually about is that he has taken the tech that he took from Cable and he's traveling the multiverse trying to find a version of Wolverine that doesn't hate his guts. And so we're going to get hundreds of variants. We're going to get multiverse hopping. We're going to get all this stuff because he's trying to find a version of Wolverine that can get along with him. So, I mean, that's what the big rumor was. Who knows if that's actually how the movie's going to end. But all I know is that we're going to get cameos galore and just a ton of different Hugh Jackman Wolverines in different forms.
Now, is that movie with the actors strike, they can't film the rest of that movie, right?
They can't film anything. They can't film anything right now until the strikes are over.
Yeah, it's so funny. The writer's strike felt like there was like all this momentum, and now that they're arguing about the actor stuff, it's like, I don't see this ending till Christmas.
But the thing is, the studio stonewalled the actors with a stupid deal. They're like, we'll give the writers everything. But guess what, actors? I know that you fought for this. We're not giving it to you. Like, they're just hurting themselves at this point. Just give in to the demands. Just do the right thing. Get everyone back to work and start making money again. What is the problem with that?
I don't think it's stopping. I don't think it's stopping next week. I mean, hopefully it does. I don't know. Maybe other things in the world force it to come back. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The world needs to, I don't know. I mean, there's so much stuff going on in the world right now that I would just love some more distractions than what we're dealing with right now in the real world.
Sure. Yeah, and it makes it sad as these places are not places I want to go to anymore. You know what I mean? It feels like, okay, well then what do I put myself into?
Yeah. But on the other note, because we talked about the MCU and the weirdness that could be the Fantastic Four if they do it the way rumors are saying, and I don't know if they thought that the controversy of everything that they're doing wasn't big enough. Marvel's first family is Marvel's first family. And yes, the early 2000s when they made those Fantastic Four movies, yes, they were weird. They weren't written the best, but they nailed the characterization on everyone except for Doctor Doom.
Mm.
Everyone was accurate except for Doctor Doom. So that's the big issue, is that if you try to dramatically change everything so much to not make it that movie, all you're going to get is Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch. And you're going to get that fiasco again.
It feels so... it feels Fantastic Four feels so far away from everything else that they are doing. It almost feels like an afterthought at this moment to like even try to get that into the universe.
Seriously.
You would make a great X-Wing pilot.
I got a little mouthpiece for it too. Look at this.
Can you put juice in it? Can you put juice in it?
No, it's not a beer bong.
I didn't ask him if it's a beer bong.
No, it's supposed to be a microphone, but it is. I don't know. It's
What
kind of
noises-
cool. I wish the visor went up, but it doesn't. That would be like the best thing on this thing.
What noises does it make?
Oh, it like lights up. Oh, I hear R2D2 doing a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. There's supposed to be like lights in the visor, like I'm getting shot down.
What's the
Oh, there it
symbol? There it is. That's really fun.
Okay, I gotta stop it before it like blows up.
What's the symbol?
Oh, so this is the Trapper Wolf one. It's a wolf.
Trapper Wolf.
No,
What
it's
is Trapper Wolf.
It's Dave Filoni's character, the guy who
Oh,
actually
okay.
made all the shows. Like he had his cameo when he's in like Mandalorian. This is his helmet. got the
Trapper
wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah, it's got the wolf.
That's some pretty Star Fox shit.
Yeah, how do I turn off the audio?
Don't hurt your ears. Who sells helmets? Where do you get helmets from?
I got it mostly from Amazon.
Okay.
This was a Prime Day deal, so I got it for like 60% off.
Of the normal Trapper Wolf price?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to spend like $110 for it, but yeah, I'll spend $50 for it.
Sure. What else were your Prime Day pickups? This episode not brought to you by Amazon Prime.
Honestly, I only bought that for myself. That was the only Prime Day pickup. Was that?
That was the only impulse buy the whole day.
I'm pulling off my earpiece, so don't say anything yet.
That was the only impulse buy of the whole day.
No, but the other thing that I got that was really
There
cool.
it
So
is.
Here's that segment. Let me get
Taylor,
back to
we
it.
have a brand new segment on the show.
Behold, my stuff.
Here it is. Taylor has removed his earbuds, so everything I am saying is only to you at home. He is showing me
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
No.
There we go. I can hear you now. What'd you say?
what's in the box of Batman stuff.
I should get another gift of what's in the box, because that's the thing that we should do. It's the 100 Years McFarlane Ultimate Movie Collection. It is literally all the Batman from the movies.
Wow.
So here is.
Yeah, you gotta get closer. I gotta see it. That's Keaton.
That's Keaton. There's a Val Kilmer one. Here is George Clooney. There's
Yeah.
Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson, and a bat signal on the other bottom with all the interchangeable symbols for each of the characters.
From opening the box and getting real close to the faces, which one is the best?
So out of the lot of these, oh, that's really hard. They're all really. So the Michael Keaton. Oh, the one cool thing about this set of figures is that unlike the rest of the McFarlane figures, this set every character has a fabric cape, and this is something that all of the McFarlane toys should have: is fabric capes for Batman. The molds on these figures are actually gorgeous. Like they actually all look like the actors, but I think the only head mold in here that's brand new is this Ben Affleck one, and it's probably the best looking mold the Ben Affleck figure has had. The Flash figure, the Ben Affleck face did not look like Ben, but this one does.
Batman in that movie doesn't even look like Ben Affleck. The
No,
action scenes in that movie with Batman are all over the place.
But they're the best scenes in the movie.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, aside from that, I also got the Michael Keaton Batman '89 Batmobile over here, but it's underneath the box of comic books, so I can't grab it yet. That'll be next week's.
Is it big?
Michael.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Taylor has gone off screen. We can see his comfy, velvety nighttime pants. He's wearing pants that look like my shirt, except I'm wearing a normal outside shirt. Those are very clearly inside pants. He's putting his comic books. He's very salty at me. I gotta see this giant car. It's going to be so big. Taylor, move.
I can't hear you.
Buzz.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Move that bus. What a toy.
Yeah, I haven't opened it yet. Should I open these things? Like, I want people to start telling me in the comments, like, should Taylor open his toys? Or should he leave them in the boxes?
What is your stance? Where are you half 50-50, 75-50? What stays in the box?
Certain things stay in the box. Like, if it's one of those, hold on, Taylor, did you ever get the Captain Rex helmet yet? It's not out yet, but I have pre-ordered. I'm buying that Captain Rex helmet. I'm also going to probably buy a bunch of the Clone Trooper helmets and just repaint them to all the divisions. So like the blue one, the yellow one, the green one. I'm going to start doing that to all the white helmets because why not? If I can find a place where you can...
They haven't produced those?
No, but they produced the white one, and I think they know that fans are buying them to repaint them. So I think they're like, oh, that's why it's $90 because it's...
This is one of the downsides of Star Wars Land being all First Republic stuff, right? Like it's all there. Like the fact that there isn't a shop where you can get spray painted helmets of whatever color you want. Like that would just sell. They sell lightsabers, just sell different colored helmets.
Hey, John, you're here. How about I send you a link, John, and you join us because I want to talk to you about your movie.
Yeah, John, get on here. Get up. It's time to put on your big boy pants and talk about your movie.
Would you ever do Commander Bly?
Is that a helmet? This is a terrible podcast, everybody. We're looking at toys. Taylor's Googling things. There's not a lot I apologize for the
Commander Bly is a clone trooper that had the it was a I think a phase 2 clone trooper. I think that's the design. But he had this like visor that goes down on his eyes, like a Cyclops visor that like he's like a sniper essentially.
Cool.
If I could 3D print that visor and fit it onto the helmet, hell yeah, I would.
Can you 3D print Scott Summers' visor? Can you make a Cyclops visor?
We've talked about this. I have a 3D printer right over here.
I know, but have you been making Wolverine claws in it?
No, I haven't made a lot of stuff lately. I need to do
well,
that.
You did get a new job. You do have new responsibilities coming your way. So I feel
I do. I zoomed myself out. That was a little weird. Do you guys hear about the Batman Beyond fan film? We did a show on the Batman Beyond fan film.
We know all about it. I wish them nothing but the best. It looks fabulous. They had a lot of work.
Roasted Geek, what did we hear? I mean, I talked to Michael Yu a lot. I actually talked to him today. He wants to come on in a few weeks and discuss some behind-the-scenes drama that happened in production.
Oh boy!
And that's going to be
It makes me sad that all of these that drama is what the people want and not just the fun thing. It's always something that happened that spoiled it all.
And here's the new figure that I bought. The one toy that I bought recently. It's a Darth Vader that his helmet comes off and his hand comes off.
Cool.
Like he's got like he's all like. Right there, like his hands all burned up and messed up.
You're just showing me his junk, but that's fine.
That's his junk. That's where Luke and Leia. No, that's where they came from. No, Michael, you need to watch Gen V because that show is insane.
Yeah. It's I haven't been home. I haven't been in the States, and I couldn't access a bunch of websites because I wasn't in the States.
So one thing that came out from behind the scenes is that Gen V is essentially The Boys season 3.5. Like. You have to watch this show to understand the next season of The Boys. And then the next season of The Boys is going to lead into the season 2 of Gen V. Cool. Like they're literally making them like, these are the latest seasons.
Do you think that ends in a movie eventually, or it'll just end in another season?
I think it'll just end in a wrap-up season.
It's my favorite show. That's a show I always want people to watch. I'm so excited.
Toasted Geek. Yes, that's actually what I'm going to be bringing Michael to talk about. Is that the prop maker that they commissioned a bunch of props for scammed them? And
oh no, they should have used Dragon. That guy, that internet guy.
Yeah, your Dragon buddy. You keep talking about him every time. But no, he wants to talk about that, and he actually has a handful of people that also got scammed by this guy too. And we're going to kind of do a roundtable of like the perils of trusting online prop makers, because it's a real thing that can backfire really quickly.
Well, and it's also, I feel bad because obviously you do something cool. I mean, Taylor, my whole life has been doing projects and models and painting, and has put 1,000 hours into into a piece. Now, if I have enough money, how much is it worth you to sell it to me? And can you put your time into something else? And I understand that part of it, and I feel bad. Now, if he's scamming people, you know what I mean? But it's like that line between fandom and nerdom, you know what I mean? So many of the cosplayers have to be amazing seamstresses because you have to sew all that stuff.
Yeah. But there's a lot behind the scenes stuff that needs to be talked about because it sucks. But no, so let's get to this last topic and see how much derailment we get before that point.
Okay.
Are you guys fans of Attack on Titan? Yes, we both are.
Hell yeah.
And this final season is finally wrapping up, and I'm ready to see the horrific ending that I know is coming. And if they change anything, I'm going to be upset. It needs to be a 1-to-1 adaptation of that ending. Despite how controversial it was, that ending was perfect for a reason.
Is this the ending in the manga?
How do I say it? Like, what's the non-spoiler way? That's the best way. Do you know how it ended?
No.
Okay.
I've only watched the anime.
Okay. If people who've read it know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's my favorite show. I can't believe it's been on I can't believe it's been on my. Yeah, I just can't believe it's never gone away.
Yeah, because they took 5 years to do one season.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good though. It's like Attack on Titan is the Japanese equivalent of South Park. Whenever I get new episodes, that's my favorite day.
Yeah. Even though they're not related whatsoever, any correlation at all.
What do you mean? They do like one episode of South Park every month. You know what I mean? Those guys just work where they want
I'm saying like tonally, like South Park and Attack on Titan couldn't be more different.
They're very similar to me. What's our final topic?
Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn makes my favorite movies. Those Kingsman movies knock it out of the park every time. That last movie, I couldn't believe how much I liked it.
So he recently, I think it was at New York City Comic Con a couple of weeks ago, had this big tell-all of all this stuff. One of the most controversial things that he brought about, we talked about in last week's episode, but you didn't hear about it. So I want to see your blatant reaction to this. Matthew Vaughn was originally going to direct X-Men 3. He had a casting stuff. He had a bunch of stuff ready to go. He went in for a meeting with the executives, and he saw
which X-Men 3, The Last Stand or the next. Okay,
The Last Stand. So he met with some of the producers or people behind the scenes, and he saw that one of them had a slightly bigger script than what he had initially. And he asked them, "Do you have a different script than I have? What's going on?" Long story short, they had made a fake script to get Halle Berry to sign on the film. And that fake script included a ton of backstory for Storm that they had no intention of doing. He saw this. He had this discussion with them and said, "You guys are fucking con artists," and he quit on the scene.
Wow. What integrity to do that and to not gaslight an actress.
Yes.
Wow. They promised her a real movie and then they took it away.
Yeah. And even though she was the secondary main character of X-Men 3, that movie was a dumpster fire.
It's such a dumpster fire.
And then he obviously came back and made the best X-Men film, aka First Class, but he had a different production team that was helping him with it because all those other ass clowns were not attached to that one. So
it is truly one of the better. The film is great on its own, and it just did so many things well within the X-Men universe.
I'm just reading the comment. The reason we didn't get Vaughn was such BS. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But so the other things he revealed, because he was talking about his new movie Argyle, which if you've seen the trailer, it looks a lot of fun. It looks like, I know you've seen this movie because it's one of my absolute favorite movies, Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell.
Yes.
It's Stranger Than Fiction with a spy twist. I'm ready for that movie. She's writing this guy's life, and now people are hunting her down because she has the power to control his life, apparently, in written form. Like, it seems so ridiculous that I love it to death. I love it to death. And I'll bring you on in a second, John. So he in this, I'll just bring it on right now. We can talk about this.
What's happening?
He along with talking about Argyle, he revealed not only there's 2 more Kingsman films coming. The Kingsman 2, which is the rise of Hitler, which is essentially that post-credit scene for Kingsman, the Kingsman, where Hitler is like this, essentially the Nick Fury of the supervillains. And then you have Kingsman proper, Kingsman 3 with Eggsy and all the fun people. And I swear to God, they need to bring back some of the characters that they killed off in number 2, because they killed off the best characters. And it's a spy movie. They can bring them back somehow.
They'll figure out what they could do.
I want them to bring him, the one character that died, my favorite character. I want him to come back as like a robot or something, like something just absolutely ridiculous, but in line with that universe where like they found him and now he's a cyborg or something. And like, he's like, I don't remember. Like they set up like a Winter Soldier arc where he's like a villain until they bring him back. And he's like, I want something just batshit insane, Matthew Vaughn style. Oh, Michael, speaking of your shirt, we talked about this before, and I said I was going to wear that shirt. I just realized I'm wearing the pants, though.
Oh, I told everyone else.
Yeah, okay.
How you doing, Jay Stu? What do you got for us?
I'm good. I don't know. I was literally laying in bed, like watching short films, and I just came across you guys' live.
So for everyone who remembers, Jay Stu used to be deep in the TCN rundowns for us, but he did take a small hiatus because he was doing his own short film, The Drifter. It dropped last week or the week before.
Was it the week before? Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
Mazel tov.
I've lost the weeks. Yeah, so it was the week before. It's a horror movie. I caught some of it. It's got the right amount of creep that I like to it. But tell us a little bit about that project of yours, because it was your labor of love for the longest time.
Yeah. I had started writing it like over the summer, and because I felt really bad because like I had the one short film that I came out with a year ago, almost to the day. Tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary of my first short film, Recovery. And I felt really bad because I hadn't made a short film in almost a year. So I was like, I really need to get on it. So I started writing it over the summer, and we started shooting it September 4th or 5th. And got it done in about 3 weeks. But yeah, this is my baby. I really love this short film. It's heavily influenced by one of my favorite films. Stylistically, it's heavily influenced by one of my favorite films, which is Book of Eli. But yeah, we were coming into spooky season, so I thought it would be appropriate to do another horror film. And yeah, this is my baby, man. I'm proud of this one.
So when I watched it, it reminded me a lot of like Book of Eli meets that one horror movie, Lights Out, where like the light turned off and there's the monster.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of. I'm like, don't take the goggles off, like just leave them, just don't do it. But yeah, lots of fun. What do you got coming up next? What's your next baby? Are you gonna just play it by ear, or do you actually have something that you're jotting down, or what are you doing?
I'm working on 2 things right now. They're still like kind of in the like outline stage. Nothing is really fleshed out. But when I do, start working on something, you guys will definitely know. But one of them is a holiday horror film. So that's hopefully that's going to be coming out within the next 2 months.
That's exciting.
3 weeks is such a quick production time. Do you sleep, or do you just go?
I mean, that's the thing. Like when you just starting out with filmmaking, you gotta write to your resources. So I knew I didn't have a whole lot of money, a whole lot of props, and I didn't have access to like professional actors. So I just bought a couple things off Amazon and Temu, and cast my wife as the main character, and that was that. So it comes out to a lot of thorough planning. My last short film, I struggled to make a shot list because I was had some technical difficulties and I didn't feel like doing it again, so I just winged it. And the shoot, although I got it done in one night, it took way longer than it should have, and it was kind of stressful, but a fun stressful. This time, because I knew I was gonna have to shoot over multiple days, I absolutely made sure that I had everything planned out and I made a shot list. And ironically, the third day of shooting, I didn't even use the shot list, just making one anyway, and putting me in the habit of making one had me prepared for that day. So um I know that was a long answer, but going just going into it, knowing what I was gonna do, and how I was gonna do it made it a lot easier.
Is it for mass consumption? Can we watch it now?
Oh yes, you can watch it now. It's on my YouTube channel, Studio Media Filmmaking.
It's so funny, or not funny. I'm so happy that you got the itch to practice your art form, and I
Yeah.
am excited that it is spurring you on to do more.
Oh
Um,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it took me a while to figure out what I really wanted to do with my life because I've dabbled in a few things, um, and funny enough, filmmaking encompasses all of my interests, and making that first one, recovery, making that first one a year ago, that's when the bug really bit me. I was like, this is fun. This is awesome. Like I'm stressed out, but I'm enjoying myself.
mm. You mentioned the Christmas movie.
Yes.
Well, after that, what else is in your mind?
Um, I don't know. I would like to make a bigger short film, something that I can enter into some festivals. Right now, I'm just experimenting and practicing my craft and trying to get better. But hopefully, uh, next summer I can work on something bigger and submit to some festivals and kind of get my name out there.
Well, you joined us too late in the show, so we'll have to. But I would love to know. I am so ignorant of that world and that
Mhm.
process. Even if I would love to know what that consists of, because I'm
I
sure
threw the
there's a
link of
number
your
of
show in the
hoops that you
comments.
have to jump through to make that process happen.
Well, because I had such a small crew and literally just two people in my cast, I didn't really have to jump through many hoops or over many hurdles. Like I said, when you just starting out, you got to write to your resources. You got to write whatever you have. So, I live 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in Conyers. So, it's a country type town, but it's growing. It's got a little bit of stuff. But I had a park around me with a lot of trees. I had a baseball field and an empty parking lot, and I had a Goodwill around me and a very supportive wife. So I put all of those things together, and I got the drifter.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you mentioned that baseball park, so maybe we can get another Sandlot movie. Who knows? That being
Hey,
said,
that might happen. I drive school buses for a living, so um that could happen.
kid actors suck to work with, but they say the
Oh, I know.
funniest shit. And if I'm just I don't know how much patience you have, because obviously you have a bunch, because do you need it for something like that? But I
Yeah.
don't know. You get those kids talking smack or something like that. That's a movie. I mean, and everyone knows what those shots have to look like.
Yeah, I mean, movies like that, they're a part of my childhood. Obviously, I love The Sandlot. The Goonies is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've always wanted to make a movie similar to The Goonies. Um, I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much, because it's the Goonies but horror, and I think it's
Goonies
fantastic.
versus the evil clown.
Yeah.
That's why I like Monster Squad. It's like Goonies meets Power Rangers.
But they're not scary. Yeah. But before we close, because we already are over our hour mark, the one thing that we teased that we in our title card that we haven't talked about yet, Matthew Vaughn did comment on the DCU rumors. There was a lot of rumors earlier this year about him being tapped to be a director in a project. He did confirm that James Gunn and Safran did reach out to him, but unfortunately, because of his schedule for Argyle, Kingsman, the Kingsman, all of those projects, he says that right now he can't make it work because he's also rebooting Kick-Ass. And Kick-Ass was one of those projects that it came out and he did have a big dramatic change of the ending because of the source material, I guess, not wrapping up in time, or certain things just didn't work out. But he wants to do a proper reboot of the Kick-Ass movies, but adapting the book from the start, which they had to tone some of the book stuff down, and now he wants to just do the whole thing correctly, which I'm all for it, because Kick-Ass was fantastic, and he's only gotten better as a director.
In a world where the boys exist, canon Kick-Ass fits in right in there. I mean, they're making Scott Pilgrim canon, so yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah. But as we wrap, the one thing that we didn't start at the very beginning of this episode was we didn't talk about our giveaway. So I'm going to talk about the giveaway, and then we're going to wrap it up. So on this week, we got one more episode after this one, which is going to air on Halloween. So we'll probably record it early, but still. The question for this week that we're going to talk about, as always, you have to subscribe to the channel, you got to like this video, and you got to comment to this week's answer. Obviously, I'm going to make it an easy one for you. I buy a ton of collectibles. Do you prefer keeping your collectibles in boxes, or do you believe that you need to let them breathe and they should come out of the box and be displayed as part of your collection out of the box? So put that in the comments, answer your question. Obviously, rationale, you can't just say, yes, open the thing. That doesn't count. You have to explain yourself. Because legitimately, as Michael said, I've got this bad boy sitting here, and I'm not sure if I should open this or not. And if I do, it's going to go on my shelf. I've also got my Green Ranger Dragon Whistle Flute Dagger right there that I'm debating whether or not I open. But I do have my Proton Pack, my Magneto helmets, all that stuff I do open. So what is your stance? Should these things be open? Should they be displayed as opened, or should they be locked away forever and someone in your ancestral line gets them and then sells them later on? What is your opinion?
And you have so many wearable toys. You have so many things that you can like. Do you ever get to wear it to work?
I'm actually thinking about next week we have for Halloween. Since I work in pediatrics, I thought they want to do like a staff Halloween costume, which I think is kind of stupid. But I do have my Proton Pack and a jumpsuit and all that stuff. I might just show up as a Ghostbuster with the staff costume underneath it.
Please do.
I'll just be sitting there helping patients with a full-on Proton Pack.
You're
and just be like, here we go.
Remember, don't cross the streams.
Yeah.
No, I have to tell that to everybody. You can't cross the streams. Do not look directly into the trap. Like I'm just going to give them all the advice from the movies.
It said Zool and then just started cooking
and
on my counter.
The best one is if someone asks if you're a god, you say
you.
Like,
I'm going to go to work with a sheet on it, tell everyone I'm the keymaster.
I didn't realize that until I was much later, but they banged, right? That was something that I didn't catch as a kid, was that Zool and
they banged. Yeah.
Zool was the one, and it was Vince Clortho was the other, and they had to bang to initiate this summoning of Gozer. So yeah, but they made it much more obvious in the second movie. I mean, the new movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, when they're like, oh yeah, they're banging. Like they made that much more obvious. They spelled it out for you. But as a kid, I didn't know what happened. I just thought they made out. But then as I got older,
Aykroyd hooks up with a ghost too.
Yeah. Or did he have a dream about it?
His pants, they unzipped in the air.
That definitely happened. That was real.
Yeah. In my brain, that was a real thing. He definitely, yeah. But on that note, Michael, take us home.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to join us for some more top 5 sex scenes with ghosts in movies, head over to our patreon.com/theculturednerd. That's what it was turning into, Taylor.
That's not what we're doing. That is
we
not
were
a show
basically halfway there. We didn't even mention what lies beneath, but look at our wonderful patrons that lie beneath us and prop us up with their wonderful shekels. Thank you so much for keeping the lights on. Taylor Murphy's been your host. I've been your co-host, Michael Santel. Our logo was done by Jose Navarro. Our intro by Taylor Murphy and the wonderful Jay Stu. Go check out his brand new movie. It is a love. It is a passion project that has turned into fruition. Go check that out with your eyeballs. If you have those cell phones, whip them out. Take that picture. Don't forget to like, comment, and answer the question. Do you keep your toys in the box? Or do you take them out and let them breathe like a snake? I'm Michael. That's Taylor. That's Jay Stu. We'll see all you kids next week.
And just for the record, we're not making a top 5 ghost sex scenes video. That's not.
I'm saying if the patrons come, that's what
you gotta give the people what they want.
Taylor, that's what they want.
Then you can do that by yourself. You can make that show by yourself, Michael. That is what we're doing. That's all you.